this is the container I'm going to use because then I can also dispose of the bleach within this container. And then of course I have my pine cones. These are some that I saved from last year, stored it in a kitty litter bucket, which actually worked really well. So I'm going to start by sticking the pine cones that I want to bleach into my container. Next I'm going to turn my hose on and add some water. So I filled my container just up to the top, the water line's right there, and we're just going to add a little bit of bleach. I'm going to really kind of push these under so that way they really soak in the water. These ones on top, we'll see how they turn out, but my hope is that even though they're not completely submerged, they'll still kind of suck up the bleach and they'll also be bleached. So now it is time to add the bleach. I'm just using this Great Value stuff. Know that this is concentrated, so that's why I filled it up with so much water, and I'm just going to add a little bit of bleach because this stuff is pretty powerful. Also, you may note that I have changed clothes. I've got myself completely covered in clothing that I don't mind if I get a little bleach on. I've got boots on, and I'm also putting on gloves because we want to be safe when handling our bleach. And it's pretty simple. All I'm going to do is just add a little splash of bleach to my container. We're gonna call that good enough. Put the lid back on the bleach. I'm putting this lid on here so that way my cats don't get into it. And now that I've added the bleach, I'm also going to kind of just stir it around a little bit so that way it gets all mixed in there and diluted. And now I'm just going to let it sit, and we'll check back in a few hours and we'll see if we get the results we want. Alright, so my pine cones have been sitting out here for about 2 hours, a little over. So I'm going to check them and see how they're doing. If we look down in there, I'm not seeing a whole lot of change. Let's see if we grab one of these ones from down lower. I'm not noticing a huge change, so we'll let these sit. I may even let these sit like overnight or something to see if we can really pull the color out. This side I think is the side that's dry, that lighter side there, but maybe that's actually pink. I'm just gonna kind of swirl this around again, put my lid back on, and let it keep sitting. This is 4 hours after putting them in here. It's really hard to say. Also, it's interesting because they're closing up in the water. Yes, that one's light just because it's got the like lichen stuff on it, I think. Anyways. But maybe not. Maybe it actually is bleaching. We will see. We'll leave this sit till tomorrow and we'll come back and check. So here we are. It's 2 days later and we're going to check on our pine cones. Now, part of the problem is it's hard to tell how bleached they are because they're still wet, and when they're wet, they look darker. But I think today will be the day that I pull these out to let them dry. And they will open back up once they dry out. As you likely figured out based on the last few clips, when they're soaking in there, it's really hard to tell how bleached they actually are. I would recommend leaving them in there longer versus shorter if you want to get a really bleached look. If you don't want to get a really bleached look, give it a day, take them out, and finish the process and let them dry. And then if they're not as bleached as you would like, you can always bleach them again. But this isn't like super scientific or super precise. Just let them soak for long enough to get bleached. So here I have my pine cones lying out to dry, and now that they're drying, I'm quickly realizing that the whiter spots that I thought were lichen are actually bleached pine cones. They're still a little dark as they're drying, and in all they ended up staying in the bleach for about 3 days just because I didn't get around to taking care of it sooner than that. If you wanted to go for a more extreme look, you could obviously leave it in longer and do a higher concentration of bleach. However, I wanted to go for a lesser concentration just so it was a little bit safer and not as risky to deal with, and just let it go longer. But I'm thinking this one here probably gives a good idea of how it's going to look when it's all said and done, where it's kind of white on the ends and the lighter wood in between. And as they dry, they will open back up and we will have bleached pine cones that we can use for our fall crafting. And of course, if the first time bleaching them doesn't get as extreme of a bleached effect as you would like, you can always bleach them a second time. And these are our completely dried pine cones. I'm really happy with how they turned out. And I got a lot of different looks within here, and I think it's because of just whatever kind of pine tree it was. So like this one here looks really different than some of the other ones, and you can see the lighter brown tone versus going so white like this one. because it looks like from the top down. But I think this one was probably near the top because if as I turn it, you kind of see that some spots the tips get really white and then they go that more creamy tone. So I had a couple that were like that. And as I promised, they did open back up once they completely dried, and I think they look really fun. I don't know what I'm going to use them for yet. Maybe a wreath, maybe I'll put them on the mantle, who knows. But overall, I think this is a really easy, really fun way to add some personality to your pine cones. Thanks for watching my video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy crafting!